Johnny Christian Styles here for RxMuscle.com. I gotta say my full name when I'm in a Spanish-speaking country. I'm here with the mechanic.
Mechanic, ¿cómo estás?
The mechanic, as he's known here in Barcelona in Spain, Chris Aceto.
Is that how technician translates?
No, mechanic is like a mechanic, and a technician is a technician. But apparently, we've encountered fans that call him the mechanic. So, Chris, we just finished wrapping up the Arnold Classic Europe, Spain. And the Blade, Dexter Jackson, comes here, and once again, he's right now talking to Arnold as we speak to you guys, and wins the show. What were your first initial thoughts on Dexter?
I thought that Dexter was fuller this week through his most muscular. I thought he was fuller through the back double. And then everything else I thought was on par with last week, meaning his condition was really good this week. It was really good last week. His legs seem both weeks to be equal, which, you know, my knock is that they're not separated compared to some of the other guys in the top 4 or 5. But this is a better version of Dexter, I think, than came to the Olympia last week. At a minimum, he was more aggressive this week than he was in prejudging last week at the Olympia.
Yeah. Usually in Latin American or, you know, Spain, Victor Martinez is, as we know, from the Dominican Republic, and he speaks Spanish, and people love him here. He gets a crazy crowd, goes crazy over him. But on this night, the one and only Big Ramy was the talk of the town, not even in prejudging, but on the night show. When he came out, everybody went absolutely crazy.
Yeah, you know, Ramy here was, you know, the knock was that he was too flat in prejudge, and then he was like, you know, full and, you know, closed hard at the Olympia. And here he was probably like 3 pounds more than he was at the finals there. But on his, for whatever reason, 3 pounds on him shows up as like 12 for some, you know, he just looked really full. And, you know, it is a knock against Dexter. You know, use these like phrases not to knock Dexter, who's one of the, probably, you know, one of the top 3 bodybuilders of all time based on his accolades, what he's been able to do in his career. I mean, it'll never be repeatable. What he's still doing in his career, you know, he's beaten the best in the world. But tonight, I just thought that Ramy had just way too much muscle density, roundness, fullness, overpoweringness to not be called a winner of a show of this caliber.
Right, and in third place, we expected Shawn Rhoden to win, but William Bonac comes here and switches places. The crowd did boo again when Shawn got 4th, but between them two, it was comparable each and every time they went in.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, you probably you probably can make arguments for a Dexter, Bonac, Rhoden call out because neither of them can dominate each other, at least tonight. Certain nights, some can, but neither of them can dominate each other. The interesting thing is Bonac carries always a film of water, but when he flexes, there's so much, you know, striations in the pecs and shoulders and arms, it doesn't matter, you don't see it. So while he looks filmy in certain areas, when he's in his pose, he doesn't. He looks like, you know, granite hard, and he's got more back thickness than both Dexter and Shawn. So, and he's probably got a better side chest in terms of thickness than both of them. The difference between those 3 is William's lines. They're not bad at all, but Dexter's got prettier lines and different lines, and I think more etched separation. Same thing with Shawn, and Shawn's a taller bodybuilder, so sometimes your eye comes to him. That being said, you know, you could, I feel, flip a coin on, you know, those 3 in terms of where they would place in the show. After that, you bring, you know, once you get away from those 4 guys, you get Roelly Winklaar, who's just like a poor man's version of Ramy. In other words, you know, he doesn't have the back that Ramy has. He doesn't have the leg sweep, but he's got wacky legs. He struggles with leg separation from the front, but sometimes his hams and glutes are peeled. He looked great here. He looked great last week. He's just butting his head at all these shows against the Rhodens, Dexters, Bonacs, you know, that people who he carries more weight and more muscle than, but he's just put together differently. I mean, there's some shots clearly that he's just absolutely insane on, frontal bicep side chest. And then some of the shots, as you get through the comparisons, you start to pick away a little bit at, where genetically he gets hurt. And that's what it is. It's just like the flow to the body. After that, Josh Lenartowicz shaved his head like you. I thought Josh was almost a 100% repeat of last week in the best condition that he possibly can be in at this point of his career, the fullest that he can be at this point in his career. If he had tried to come in fuller, it wouldn't have been a good look. We would be saying, he's got to be, tighter. And if he tried to come even tighter, we'd be saying, a little bit flat. So I think he came in to the best of his ability. And it's just a matter of, I think, time where he's going up against the Bonacs, Rhodens, Dexters, but then in front of him also he's got Super Freak, and that's what he is. Roelly's just retardedly freaky, and Roelly did a backflip, which was just insane. I didn't know cameras could flip.
Now we can die in peace knowing that Roelly Winklaar could do a backflip, and we were there. Close to the stage. We were not at home critiquing or doing anything, right? We were like up close and personal. We saw everything.
Yeah, we saw everything. And for the internet keyboard, nationalists / generals, here's what happens at these shows. This show, people were in tremendous condition. I thought Roelly Winklaar, tremendous condition. Josh Lenartowicz, tremendous condition. Dexter, peeled. Rhoden, peeled. The little Kai guy,
William
Bonac, peeled. Keep going down the line. You could go out of the top 6. People are peeled. We'll post pictures up for whatever reason, and people look like cloudy, soft, and people say, "Oh, they're way off. Nobody can diet anymore." You know what? Let's put that bullshit to rest. Because I was at the Olympia last week, and then you see some pictures, and people, even Phil last week, I was there in row 2. To me, he looked peeled and full, and then I look pictures and you look at, he's peeled and full, but not like the impact of right here. So sometimes pictures don't transmit what's going on, and I know video doesn't, because people look at videos and say, oh, this guy looks peeled, and like, well, if you're there, he's like a marshmallow, right. Whereas even on a video or in print on the internet, Dexter's probably detail just not going to show up like it actually really is in real life. So I get tired of people saying, these guys don't come in shape. It's like, why don't they diet? They are dieting, and the one, I have two criticisms of the show, by the way. I hope Ramy didn't lose on the posing Arnold, because because the music was screwed up for Ramy. The routine was screwed up, so he didn't.
Ramy's music got screwed up. Oscana Grishina's music got cut off.
People's got screwed up.
Victor Martinez, I believe, it was screwed up. There was problems, you could tell, and it's their first time here, but I'm sure the production had some type of issue with competitors.
Dude, and as an industry, as people who want to support bodybuilding, you know what? If we didn't have Arnold, if we didn't have bodybuilding, guess what? You would not have bikini, men's board shorts, all the millions of divisions. The guys who are breaking their ass, who got 6th place here, got $2,500. And I can't just leave a show and applaud a $2,500 6th placement. I mean, phone bills these days are $200 every single month. To bring your car in to get your brakes checked is $1,000. $2,500 to it was Roelly to Josh Lenartowicz. If it's a struggle, to be able to pretend that it's a reward. I'd rather see him give him just a bigger trophy and a cruise and a congratulations over $2,500. So all in all, tremendous competition, a lot of depth. They moved the Arnold from Madrid to Barcelona. I was so tired, I actually didn't know I flew into Barcelona until I said, it looks different. And Shawn Rhoden said, this is not Madrid. That's a true story. So
yeah, and we're here in Barcelona for the first time ever. The expo was nice. It's nice that we have a hotel next to the expo. We can walk over.
No exhaustion. No extra festivities. They went from the prejudging right into the finals and was over with. Should we speak Spanish? I can't.
Yeah, no.
I go to Miami and I still.
Yo hablo un poquito español, y para la gente que no está hablando español, pues Chris, el técnico, el mecánico, está aquí con nosotros. But other than that, thank you to all the guys in the forums. Guru Hansa was there putting pictures, helping us out. Dave Palumbo's at home, helping us out too.
Thank you, Raphael, for the press passes.
Yes. IFBB President Rafael Santoja gave us some VIP tickets. We got in, we got treated nicely, and it's one more for the books.
One more for the books. On to Kuwait. And that means that Dexter's got to go on to Ramy's home turf.
Right.
So we're gonna when we fly in, Johnny, you and I are gonna rent camels to get to the hotel, and we'll go visit Beta at his castle.
It'll be interesting if Ramy lost here and in Vegas, and he got some major boos, and the crowd went crazy. Some crowds of the today event even threw stuff at the judges. It'll be crazy to see what happens if he lost in Kuwait.
It's going to be, it's going to come down to a two-person call-out again. That's the way it's going to break down. And maybe there'll be a different panel of judges with different opinions, because ultimately, I can fight with this person, you with that person, and it's our opinions. And that's the struggle with the sport, that it's people's opinions. But at the same time, it is what it is. It's not track and field where someone runs a fast 100 than someone else. And ultimately, people have different opinions of
perception,
the
illusion,
of what it is. It's nice to come from an Olympia. I think we can all agree Phil Heath dominated that show. It's nice to come to an Olympia and just go like, first. You can pick first. Then it doesn't matter everyone else anyway, because they're all really good. But when shows are really, really close like this one, the good thing is it creates a lot of controversy. I mean, as I'm sure. All the social media things are going to be explosive.
And before we leave, make sure you watch our channel. We got Kevin Levroni.
Sign up. Put in the plug. Put in the dirty plug. RxMuscle. What is it? RxMuscle YouTube channel. You can sign up. We got 60,000.
Subscribe.
And we got this week. We interviewed Dennis Wolf, who said he didn't like me, and I said, no, I don't like you. I love your physique. I was kidding. And but he did say that.
Yes.
And Cedric McMillan playing me, and I play Cedric McMillan, and we interviewed Kevin Levrone, who's going on to 2017. He probably thinks he's going to win this show next year.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. So for Chris the Mechanic Aceto, I am Johnny Christian Styles, signing off, diciendo adiós desde Barcelona, España. Take care, people.
Adios.